Hi, Carolyn, and welcome to my entry number 2, Teaching Health and Physical Education, the why, the what, and the how. I would like to start off with a quote that is going to speak to why I think it's important to learn all of these 3 aspects in health and physical education. Individuals who are physically literate move with competence and confidence in a wide variety of physical activities in multiple environments that benefit the healthy development of the whole person, from the Ontario Ministry of Education. I'm really thankful that I had the opportunity to engage with this entry because it made me reflect on not only the importance of physical health and education, which I already knew because I had a great experience growing up, but the more practical hows and what's does this look like. So let's go into that. Why is engaging with critical health and physical literacy look like? Well, this is going to look different for all students, but in the looking forward and looking back, shaping professional visions of HPE through critical reflection, I learned a lot from this article. So for example, students are able to make informed personal choices. They can make bigger connections. They can have a deeper understanding of various topics. They can work on their critical thinking and problem solving skills. But they also, which is stated in the CBC article that we read, that they can make real world applications. So many people have the misconception that gym class is just where you come in, you play sports, and you get out. However, this is not the case. All of these really great learning skills, thinking skills, and problem solving skills are why critical and reflective HPE learning is really important. Now, for the teachers, this is important because it can help promote more inclusive planning and more detailed planning, more accommodating planning, and all around just a more well-rounded planning for your students in the HPE classroom. By doing so, the planning inevitably will become more relevant to students, and we know how important that is in the classroom. And teachers will be able to develop a sense of sensitivity. So for someone like me who maybe had a positive experience with HPE, critically engaging and making deeper connections with my planning and making these relevant will allow me to understand that this is not the experience for all students, but it can be. I can make it a positive experience. So what does this actually look like? Well, this looks like setting goals. This looks like using the expectations in the curriculum. This looks like setting up CRRP, culturally relevant and responsive pedagogy within the HPE classroom. And just like we learned really clearly in the scavenger hunt that we had to do, this looks like referring back to the big ideas. Using all of these what's, children are able to engage more physically with their HPE literacy. And by doing so, they can make the most of opportunities for fun and activities, regardless of the setting, season, or playing surface, whether this is land, air, ice, water, or snow, says CBC. It's another article that we had to read for class. This is also really important if we look at the pandemic context as well, because I think a lot of children right now, especially in primary junior grades, are really heavily focused on the screen, and they're just always bored. If they don't have a screen available to them or a video game available to them, they don't know how to make the most out of an opportunity for fun and playing outside. I mean, in gym class, yes, because they're with their friends perhaps, but to take this kind of learning and incorporate it into the real world would be very beneficial for them. The most critical aspect is, how is this done? So we know why it's important. We know what that kind of looks like, but how do we actually get this done? What is the application for a teacher? So I read the blog post that we looked at for how to teach life skills through physical education, and this quote stood out to me. Teaching life skills through physical education, such as respect of self and others, team building skills, and critical and creative thinking, can create a more inclusive and respectful learning environment in physical education, thereby engaging more students in the learning process. So these were really great starter points for the how. And this was spoken to in a little bit more detail in Hellison's TPSR model, which consists 5 levels of responsibility. I'm going to actually bring these 5 levels of responsibility into my practicum. I will be teaching some HPE classes, so I'm really excited to focus on the notion of respecting the rights and feelings of others. So we have a lot of self-control management problems in the classroom right now, and so I think that it would be really great for us to get involved in peaceful and democratic conflict resolution and allowing the students to actually do that with each other. And that will happen through role modeling, which I will get to. But this also means knowing how to assess and evaluate participation and effort. So if the student is on task, even if they're not necessarily performing the sport correctly or the activity correctly, are they putting in the participation? Are they focused? And are they giving it all their effort? but more importantly, when they started off the unit, have they improved? So maybe if you look at the end product, it might not be the star baseball throw, the star volleyball volley, but when they started, were they better? Were they worse? Did they improve? And I think that's really important to think about when assessing HPE. Then we look at self-direction. So can students work both independently and can they set goals appropriately? This makes me reflect back on a breakout room activity that I did with some of our classmates during one of our Think, Pair, Share moments in class. We actually used a curriculum expectation to set up a goal setting scenario for I think it was grade ones. And basically we created a success criteria checklist that they were going to co-construct with teachers before they go into gym class. And then once they complete the gym hours, they're going to come back and we would incorporate literacy with this goal setting checklist that they can refer to afterwards to check to see if they've met all their goals. So it's not to say or to debunk them and to say that you didn't reach your goals, but it's to work on self-improvement, to stay on task, and how to set goals that are appropriate for your level of fitness, for your level of skill, and for where you're trying to get to. I think the most important one, though, is helping others in leadership. So yes, can you work independently well? Can you set your goals well? But I think the examples of being caring and compassionate and being responsive to others' feelings and reactions is the most important out of all of these, because if you work well on your own, that's really great. But if you're put into a group and you can't be empathetic to those feelings, then I think that that would be a major issue. So I really like that this TPSR model incorporates helping out others. Finally, and as I mentioned before, can we apply this learning outside of the gym? And I think that's when the role modeling of the teacher really comes into play during the everyday hours of the classroom. Is the teacher being respectful of other people's rights and feelings? Are we participating as well as we can? Are we giving all of our effort? Do they watch us work independently? Are you teaching in front of the kids? Are you showing them that you struggle to lesson plan, that it's also a learning process for yourself? But are you also co-teaching? Are you collaborating with other teachers? Do you show what it means to be caring and respectful when someone else has a different idea than you? Can you make a democratic decision? Can you peacefully resolve a problem? And I think that that is great learning. Thank you so much for listening to my why, what, and how. I will leave the references of all of the quotes that I made at the end of this video on my Google site. All the best.